As a parent, I worry a lot about my own child. I think about, what kind of person do I want him to grow up to become? What kind of skills and knowledge do I want him to have? My son's pretty young still, he's in elementary school. If he has a solid foundation of understanding his place in the world, that sense of place in the world can only be developed in relation to his physical community, the place he comes from, the people around him, how he relates to them, and then what he has to contribute to the people and place around him. I think if he has a solid sense of that, he'll be okay no matter what. He'll be able to have the confidence to develop whatever skills and knowledge he needs at later stages of his life. But if he doesn't have that sense of self to start with, it's really hard to then go forward without that foundation.
The mission of Haʻuoli Maloa Foundation is, in partnership with others, we seek to expand opportunities for those less fortunate, especially children, to find hope for their future and to promote preservation, stewardship, and protection of our natural resources. The in partnership with others is a really important part of our mission. It came from our benefactor, Helga. It also sets the stage for us to do our work together with others, recognizing that there's very little that we can do on our own.
If you can get those real little bits to...
People said to us, one of the things that we're concerned about is our kids don't feel hopeful about their future. So those words just really rang true to us, that we needed to do something about hope for our kids. And so that's really how the Hope for Kids initiative was started.
Good, I like how you put some detail into that. High five, good job.
In the simplest sense, we were hoping that partners would be able to create experiences for kids that would give them a greater sense of optimism, a greater sense of hope for their future. At a different level, we really wanted to learn from our partners. We wanted to learn about the kind of work that they were doing, which is aina-based education. We wanted to learn what the critical components of aina-based education are and what kinds of settings does it work especially well, the qualities of effective aina-based programs.
Just one activity.
Our favorite olelo noyau is Ohe Pau Ka'ike Kahalau Kai. Knowledge is not limited to one school or one halau. In terms of age ranges, we have early childhood education all the way through teenage interns that are doing part-time to almost full-time work. And they're woven together through doing work that's outside, working with caring and affirming adults. Culture as a cornerstone foundation for learning, high expectations, and teaching life skills.
Our 10 Hope for Kids partners are a really wonderful mix of organizations. So we have a partner on Kauai, we have a partner on Maui, we have a partner on Molokai, we have 3 partners on Hawaii Island, and we have 4 partners on Oahu. Their settings really vary also, from working in a fish pond to working mauka at Ho'olu'aina to construction skills building in Hanamaui with Makahana Ka'ike. They also are varied in terms of whether they are located within a school setting or serve children out of school time. While each of the 10 settings are very different, there are some very common and very predictable ways in which program takes place and activities unfold.
Pahia kupuna, he pilina ko ke kanaka me ka ʻaina. 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 He pilina ko ke kan O ka pahu hopu nui o lau kupu, a oia ka ho'oulu i ka i'ini, i loko na keiki e aloha a e mālama i ka ʻaina.
Koʻu mea ua maikaʻi kēia papahana mala. A e loʻo kekahi wā e aʻoi nā keiki mākou no hoi. E aʻo no nā kupuna, ka lākou hana, a hiki ke hana e like me lākou.
O maikaʻi nā aʻa ma kia mokalo.
E hiki ke kanu kapua pau ea? Ka hiki ke hoʻohana i ka ʻōlelo ma nā ʻano a pau. A ma nā wahi like ʻole, a ma nā minuke, a pau o ka lā. He mea nani ia.
E ola oe, e ola mako.
Oiai, hoʻohana ia ka ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi. ʻAʻole pono e haʻia lako o he mea Hawaiʻi kēia.
Maikaʻi ka ʻike o ke kula, ka makimakika, a ka loa pu ke ala mau makau e paʻai no ka ʻaina, no ke ola ʻana. A i ka mea ua maikaʻi. He lumi papa o koʻa, hoʻohana paha ia ke kapuaʻi, no ke ana ana pea ka nui o ka loʻi, ka nui o nā kalo, mai o lalani, a me leila he maikaʻi a ka o koʻa ke ano e hoʻohana i ai.
Ma keia polo kalamu, a'o ia nā keiki, pehe e hana ai me ka lima. He mea nui ke la i nā Hawaiʻi.
Ele nai wea.
O mamake oi ka ele nai wea. I koʻu manao, no keia polo kalamu, he mea nui ia. Oi ai ua ike leʻa ka hoʻomau ana i ke kahi hanana kula, ke kahi a'o kula i ka hale. Hiki e māua o ka uahine ke paipai i kā lākou e a'o ai ma ke kula ma ka hale. Pela no e pa'aloa ai keia ike i nā keiki. Oh, maikaʻi, hea keia ma mea. Ke a'a, ke eia ma mea no lalo. Ka mea nui, ka mea maikaʻi, hoi mai ke keiki i ka hale. Maupopo ia lau i nā huʻolelo like ʻole pili ke kanu ana, nā ʻāpana o ka mea kanu i like me ka ʻā pela aku. Pela no mau e a'o ai i keia mau mea. He mea maikaʻi ke la no ko mau a'o ana i ka ʻōlelo Hawaiʻi nā huʻolelo like ʻole pono i a pela aku.
Hoa aina o makaha. It means the land shared in friendship in makaha.
You know, when I think about Hawaiʻi no makaha, when I think about the one activity that really stuck out in my childhood being a student at Makaha Elementary was our science program. This is it. This was the farm. And we had 50% dedication of our time spent was on the farm. And in that connection to this place, Hawaiʻi no makaha, we began to nurture and create relationships with each other. So when I look back at the kids that I was on the farm with, they're all parents now. And we really focus on giving our kids the same opportunities that we had. Okay, so who likes tomatoes?
Me!
Right.
I feel like it makes the learning so much more authentic. That they're not just reading about it or just listening to me teach about it, but that they actually get to come out and experience it for themselves. The farm is a place where every student gets to be successful.
So truthfully, our programs start like a seed, and as we get involvement, we see our program start to develop and start to reach beyond its original intent. Can everybody do that? All right, guys, so let's go ahead and let's do that.
In putting our hands in the soil, we become united in the soil, walking the same land, so we grow. We grow people.
Ka'ala Farm develops leaders among the youth by cultivating a continued appreciation for natural resources through aloha aina practices.
We can just grab our rubbish and we make one pile on the side on the banks.
So let's look at developing an internship, working with high school kids, preparing them for future careers and environmental and cultural education.
You guys seem confident. Usually when we have kids, they come from all different types of backgrounds, all different types of homes.
I became an intern, and we would do a lot of Malama Aina projects. I basically signed up just to learn things that I couldn't be taught from my family. So as soon as I seen the place, I got here, it was exactly where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do.
It's like a program that gives them hope. It makes them feel a part of something. It's a program that keeps them safe, out of trouble.
I got pulled out from school because I hung out with the wrong crowd and got into too much trouble and started fighting and stuff. Then my mom asked one of the aunties if I could come up here and help her with the school groups. And from there I just started coming up and I learned a lot. 15, yeah? So 15, my tree can grow up too, yeah?
Today we talked to the kids about kalo, and we got to work in the lo'i with them, and I love to see all the keiki and everybody we in the lo'i working hard, but we also talking story, having fun. Oh, you guys is jamming.
With Uncle, I learned how to huki the kalo and how to clean it.
If these youth and interns can become the significant in their peer group, then we start changing, that others are going to say, wow, this is something.
Does anybody know the story of Haloa? I'm sure a lot of you.
By teaching, and by sharing, by doing is a way that we preserve our culture and help to practice it along with living it.
Makahana Ka'ike kind of got its start when I was building a house, and I hired all of my kids' classmates who were in high school, and these kids just powered and they roared and they were amazing. You show them how to do something and they do it perfectly, and yet I'd see these same kids in school and it was complete lights out, blank, you know. I don't want to be here, there's nothing for me here, and I don't get it. And that was their existence in high school. So I started thinking, why can't we have something like this building job in school where those same kids could learn math that way, they could get confidence in who they are.
After 2 decades of applying this new approach to learning, replacing textbooks and classroom work with tools and job experience, these youth continue to empower the Hana community on Maui. They've since constructed various school structures, public facilities, and over 50 cottages for elders and their families. Makahana Ka'ike continually exudes success as its earliest students return to become mentors themselves, leading the program to new heights.
So right here, we're gonna stub out wires. This is actually probably the biggest house that Makahana Ka'ike has done.
This house that we're building, this project, James designed this all by himself. I did 0 on it.
Taking the lead role on the biggest house we built is a lot of responsibility. And jump 12-2 for living plugs. Switch leg going through here, coming up here. And then
James, it kind of clicked for him, you know, when he was my age. He's actually a really good boss. He takes over. When Rick's not here, we kind of don't know what to do, and then we all turn to James, and you know, he gets us through the day.
Yeah, 1 foot this way and center on this to be a box. I like being able to teach the kids because then it gives me the opportunity to share my knowledge of what I've learned from Rick and from other people.
They can have one place in the day where they can let their guard down and just be who they are. it's great, and I have fun. And I have the privilege of watching all these kids go from here to there. And it's not a slow process. It's, you know, it's just like building a house. Every day you get to step back and look, you just did that today.
It's definitely benefiting the community in lots of ways. When the kids get to go out in the community and help people, that interaction between the older generation with the younger generation is really good, I think.
When you're building one house for the kupuna in the community, and then you see them smile, and then you see their eyes, oh, it make you feel all good inside, like, oh yeah, I'll help them out.
When we're done with the project, it just makes me happy to say like I did that, and I do have a purpose in this world.
I see in my future that I have no plans on quitting this job. I love doing this job, and I get to help my whole community basically, from the kids to the kupunas, so it can't go wrong.
The ones that you're lifting up are called ku.
So we've learned a lot about Aina-based education and about both the impact that it can have and the challenges of doing that work well. Our focus initially was really on the child, and our partners have helped us see child in the context of family, in the context of community. In a lot of ways that's more complex, it's also much more impactful.
And this one's starting to grow.
So one of the things we did to understand how the programs were impacting on the lives of kids and leading toward what we're hoping for, which is kids feeling more hopeful about their future, is we, together with all 10 partners, we developed an evaluation plan. The evaluation called for input from 3 groups, from program participants Ohana, and from staff. And consistently, across both years of data collection, we heard about the way in which the program was impacting on the lives of kids. We heard a lot about changes in sense of self, perception of self. For instance, Ohana talked about how shy their child was before engaging in the program, and how their child lacked a sense of self-confidence and wasn't willing to speak up in a group, and now how confident their child was and how excited they were about participating in the program, and how they had a different attitude and sense of purpose, which of course we know is so important for young people. There are some great stories of families learning from their child's participation in a program, learning about aspects of their community that they weren't aware of, learning about cultural traditions and practices that they either previously didn't know or had forgotten over the years, and what pride the family members took in being taught by their children.
I feel so proud of him. And it's through him I'm learning too again, you know.
We also heard from community leaders about their renewed sense of excitement about young people in their community, and how they are seeing young people as resources and having great gifts and talents, where previously they weren't as sure about those young people. So it's really great to see how the program impacted on the lives of program participants, and also then kind of as a ripple effect, impacting on the lives of Ohana and on the community at large.
Many of the outcomes we're after are not outcomes that are going to be realized in the short term. The kind of outcomes that we're after are changing people's lives, which takes years, and which we may not see the results of for 5 years or 10 years or a generation.
One of the decisions that Haʻuoli Maloa Foundation made early on in its forming stages is that we would try and focus our work in a couple of areas, and Hope for Kids is one of those areas. We think that by focusing, we will get smarter, learn about the issue, and add more value over time.
Good. So we're going to do a mashaka apart.
So for Haʻuoli Maloa Foundation, our work going forward is to amplify the message, to really continue to explore and understand what high-quality aina-based education looks like, to ensure that there are funding streams to support it, to ensure that across the state there are opportunities for kids to engage in high-quality aina-based education.
Each one of them is a place that consistently sends a message to kids that here's one way to understand your place in the world. Here's where you're from. Here are values that matter in this place and in this culture. And here's how you can contribute to the people and the community around you.
Being able to understand that what we have here is not just for me, but for everyone.
That's what I want my kid to have as a foundation, and that's what I'd like. That's part of what inspires me about the Hope for Kids partners.
Mahalo to the Hope for Kids ʻEkahi partners. Aha punana leo. Friends of the Future na kahumoku. Hoa aina o makaha. Hui malama o ke Kai Foundation. Ka honua Momona International. Ka'ala Farm. KKV Ho'olu Aina. Makahana Ka'ike. The Kohala Center, Hawaii Island School Garden Network. Waipa Foundation.